Welcome to my channel, The World of Science Fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. In the distant future, humanity has expanded into the stars, forming alliances with various alien species. They believe they have united all intelligent life, but they are wrong. Jason Armitage, a seasoned ship's officer, and his diverse crew stumble upon a long-lost civilization of Orcks, a powerful warrior race with incredible superpowers. Their leader, Master Vael'Zorith, does not trust humans, especially when his daughter Seyna falls in love with Jason. As tensions rise, a hidden alien threat begins to stir. Something ancient, powerful, and hungry watches from the void, ready to tear the fragile peace apart. Now, Jason and his crew must uncover the truth behind the conspiracy before the galaxy plunges into all-out war. A deep hum resonated through the metal corridors of the starship Omen, a sound Jason Armitage had long since found comforting. The ship was old but reliable, her cybernetic core pulsing with energy as she drifted through the uncharted sector of space. Jason stood on the bridge, arms folded, staring at the swirling expanse of distant nebulae through the viewport. The mission was supposed to be routine: escort a diplomatic envoy to one of the border planets, ensure they didn't get shot at, and return to the Union-controlled sectors. But Jason had learned long ago that routine was a dangerous word in deep space. A soft beep echoed through the control deck.
"Captain, are you brooding again?"
Came the familiar voice of Alex Carter, his co-officer and longtime friend. She leaned against the console, her cybernetic arm gleaming under the dim overhead lights.
"You always get that look when you're expecting things to go sideways."
Jason sighed, rubbing his jaw. Things always go sideways, Alex. It's just a matter of when. Before Alex could respond, a sharp, high-pitched chime cut through the bridge, the sound of an incoming distress signal.
"We're picking up something. It's faint, but definitely a distress call. Origin unknown."
Naomi called from the control station. The tech specialist's fingers flew across the console, her augmented neural implants glowing faintly. Jason exchanged a glance with Alex before turning to Naomi. Can you clean it up? Naomi frowned.
"Trying. It's ancient, heavily degraded. I can't even tell if it's human."
Put it through. The speakers crackled to life, and for a moment, only static filled the bridge. Then came the voice. Distorted, broken, but unmistakably alien.
Help awaken the last 3 moons not alone beware.
Then silence. Mark Russo, lounging in the pilot's chair, let out a low whistle.
That wasn't creepy at all.
Jason ignored him and turned to Rorario, the ship's enigmatic alien diplomat. The Synth's deep, inhuman eyes flickered with something Jason couldn't quite read. Rorario tilted his head slightly, considering.
It is old, very old. This language has not been spoken in centuries.
That was enough for Jason. He turned back to Naomi. Location.
"It's coming from a planet just outside Union territory. Uncharted, but
But what?
it has 3 moons."
A heavy silence fell over the bridge. Alex folded her arms.
"Well, that's not ominous or anything."
Jason's decision was already made. Mark, take us in. Let's see what's waiting for us down there. The starship Omen surged forward, heading straight for the unknown. And in the darkness of the planet below, something stirred. As the starship Omen hurtled toward the mysterious planet, the ship's hull vibrated with the force of the descent. Jason stood firm on the bridge, watching the world below grow larger with each passing second. The planet's surface was a swirling mix of deep crimson and dark indigo, its 3 massive moons casting eerie shadows across the atmosphere. It looked untouched by civilization, or at least untouched for a very, very long time.
Approaching the atmosphere.
Mark announced from the pilot's seat, a gleeful glint in his eyes.
This is where it gets fun.
Jason shot him a look. Just don't kill us, Mark. Mark smirked, adjusting the ship's trajectory.
No promises.
The Omen plunged into the upper atmosphere, turbulence rattling through the cabin as the ship cut through layers of thick, violet-tinted clouds. Electrical storms flashed in the distance, casting ghostly illumination across the sky. Naomi was glued to her console, scanning the environment.
"No signs of civilization yet, but I'm picking up weight. What the hell?"
Jason turned sharply. What is it? Naomi's fingers danced across her controls.
"I was expecting a barren rock, but I'm reading power sources. big ones, and they're ancient.
Rorario's voice was calm but firm.
This world is not dead, it sleeps.
Alex glanced at him.
That's not ominous or anything.
Jason exhaled, keeping his gaze locked on the descending planet.
Mark, take us down to those power readings. Naomi keeps scanning. We're not alone here.
The ship broke through the last layer of clouds, and what they saw nearly made Jason's heart stop. The landscape was a graveyard of massive structures, towering spires half buried in the ground, stretching endlessly into the horizon. It was clear now this wasn't just a planet. It was once a thriving civilization, and something had destroyed it.
Captain,
Naomi's voice had lost its usual edge.
we're standing on a tomb.
Jason's grip tightened on the railing.
And whatever buried it might still be here.
A sudden, heavy impact shook the ship.
What the hell was that?
Alex barked, drawing her sidearm. Naomi's console flickered with warnings.
Something just latched onto the hull.
Jason's pulse quickened.
Mark, pull us up.
Mark was already on it, fingers flying over the controls.
Trying, but something's dragging us down.
Naomi's voice was pure panic. Then the alarms blared.
We've got movement, multiple contacts closing fast.
Jason barely had time to react before the ship lurched violently, sending everyone crashing to the floor. The last thing he saw before the lights cut out was the shadow of something massive moving outside the ship. And then, silence. Darkness swallowed the starship Omen as the emergency lights flickered to life, bathing the cabin in an eerie red glow. A low, mechanical hum pulsed beneath the deck, the ship's cybernetic systems struggling to reboot. Jason pushed himself up, shaking off the impact. His ears rang, and the acrid scent of burned circuits filled the air. Around him, his crew groaned as they struggled to regain their footing.
Everyone report.
Jason barked.
Alive.
Alex grunted, already checking the charge on her sidearm.
Pissed but alive.
Naomi's voice was strained as she pulled herself up, her fingers flying across the flickering console.
Systems are rebooting, but something's draining our power fast.
Mark stumbled to his feet, rubbing the back of his head.
I think I saw my life flash before my eyes, not a great highlight reel, honestly.
Rorario stood calmly, his alien features unreadable in the dim light.
We are not alone.
Jason's stomach tightened.
What do you see?
Rorario tilted his head slightly, his sharp synth vision cutting through the dark.
Something is moving outside.
Jason reached for his sidearm.
Naomi, get the external comms back online.
Naomi's fingers worked furiously.
I've got something.
The main screen flickered, static briefly distorting the image before it resolved into a grainy, night vision feed of the ship's exterior. Jason's blood ran cold. Massive figures moved through the storm, their hulking silhouettes nearly blending with the ruins. They were twice the height of a human, their broad forms covered in thick, layered armor. They moved with precision and purpose, not mindless creatures but trained warriors.
Well, that's new.
Who the hell are they?
Mark whispered. Jason studied the figures, his gut already telling him the answer.
Orcks.
A tense silence filled the bridge. They had heard of the Orcks, whispers of a lost warrior race wiped from history centuries ago, but the Union had dismissed them as a myth, a legend. Yet here they were, and they were coming straight for the ship.
Weapons.
Jason asked, keeping his voice steady. Naomi shook her head.
Main cannons are offline, hand weapons only.
Alex cracked her neck, her cybernetic fingers flexing around the grip of her pistol.
Then we do it the old-fashioned way.
A sudden, booming impact rocked the hull. Something was trying to force its way inside. Jason activated the ship's internal comms.
Everyone battle stations. If they're hostile, we hold them off.
The hull groaned as the external door was ripped clean off. Jason turned, gun raised. And for the first time in his life, he came face to face with an orc. The warrior stepped into the ship's hold, his glowing blue eyes locking onto Jason's. Towering and armored, his presence was overwhelming. And then, in a deep, thunderous voice, he spoke.
You do not belong here, human.
For a moment, nobody moved. Jason locked eyes with the towering orc warrior, his pulse quick but steady. The alien's blue skin shimmered faintly under the red emergency lights, and his armor, dark metal inlaid with intricate silver patterns, looked ancient yet perfectly maintained. The orc's glowing blue eyes narrowed.
I will not ask again, why are you here?
Jason took a slow breath and lowered his weapon slightly, not enough to show weakness, but just enough to signal he wasn't about to shoot.
We received a distress call.
The orc let out a deep, rumbling sound. Not quite a growl, not quite a laugh.
Lies.
Before Jason could respond, another orc stepped into the ship. This one was smaller, still massive by human standards but more streamlined. Her armor was more ornate, and her stance carried a level of confidence that felt different. She removed her helmet, revealing striking midnight blue skin and sharp, defined features. Her hair was braided back into intricate patterns, and her piercing violet eyes studied Jason with something between curiosity and challenge. Naomi's voice crackled over the comm.
I think we just met royalty.
Seyna's gaze flicked briefly toward the tech specialist before returning to Jason. She tilted her head as if sizing him up.
Are you Union?
Not exactly.
Then you are trespassers.
Alex took a step forward, her stance firm but non-threatening.
Look, we didn't come here to cause trouble. We picked up a signal. We thought someone needed help.
The first orc, the massive one who had spoken first, let out a low snarl.
We do not call for help.
Jason frowned.
Then who sent the signal?
Seyna didn't answer immediately. Her expression remained unreadable, but Jason didn't miss the flicker of something behind her eyes, a brief moment of doubt. Rorario, who had been silent until now, took a step forward. His alien eyes studied the orcs carefully.
You fear something.
The larger orc immediately turned his glare to Rorario.
We fear nothing.
Seyna's fingers twitched slightly at her side. If Jason hadn't been watching her so closely, he might have missed it. She's lying. Jason exhaled slowly, keeping his hands visible.
Listen, we don't have to be enemies. If you don't need help, we'll leave.
Seyna's gaze held his for a long moment. Then she turned to the larger warrior and spoke in a language Jason didn't recognize, a series of low, guttural syllables. The male orc scowled but finally nodded. Seyna looked back at Jason.
You will come with us.
Alex crossed her arms.
Not sure I like the sound of that.
Seyna's lips curled into the barest hint of a smirk.
That was not a request.
Of course it wasn't.
The orc stepped back, motioning for them to follow. Jason took one last look at the darkened ruins outside. Whatever was happening here, it was only the beginning. The air outside the starship Omen was thick, not with pollution but with something heavier, the weight of history, the remnants of a lost civilization. Jason stepped carefully onto the cracked stone ground, his boots pressing into centuries of dust. The ruins stretched as far as the eye could see, massive structures carved into jagged cliffs, some half buried by the passage of time. He could feel it. This place had been alive once. Now it was a graveyard. Seyna and her warriors moved ahead, their broad forms casting long shadows against the alien architecture. The wind howled softly, carrying whispers through the towering remains of what must have once been a mighty city. Alex walked beside Jason, her cybernetic fingers twitching slightly, a sure sign that she was on edge.
So, any idea where they're taking us?
Not yet, but I doubt it's a welcome party.
Mark strolled a few paces behind them, hands in his pockets, his usual grin not quite reaching his eyes.
You know, I always wanted to visit an abandoned alien city. Didn't think it'd be under an armed escort, but hey, I'll take what I can get.
Naomi, ever focused, was already scanning everything with her wrist-mounted device.
These structures are ancient, but the energy signatures I'm picking up don't make sense. Some of this tech is still active.
That caught Jason's attention.
Still active after all this time.
Rorario, walking silently at the rear, finally spoke.
Because they are watching.
Jason turned to the Zinth, who was gazing up at the dark towers looming above them.
Who is watching?
Jason asked carefully. Rorario's violet eyes gleamed in the dim light.
The past is watching.
Before Jason could ask what the hell that meant, the orcs led them through a massive archway. Beyond it was a structure unlike the others, a fortress. The walls were etched with strange, glowing symbols, and the entire place hummed with unseen power. Seyna stopped at the entrance and turned to face them.
You are about to meet my father.
Jason raised an eyebrow.
I take it he's not thrilled we're here.
You are human. You already have one strike against you.
The large orc warrior, the one who had first confronted them on the ship, stepped forward.
Silence, you stand before the master of the Orcs. Show respect or do not stand at all.
Jason glanced at his crew. This was the moment where everything could go very, very wrong.
All right, Let's not get killed in the first 5 minutes.
Then he stepped forward, straight into the unknown.